As you can tell, I'm not the Venerable Ratanasara, and I was called in the last minute to Jiamsi Tong. The topic that the Venerable was supposed to speak about was what the Buddha discovered. And actually, I don't know what he's going to talk about, but then I took the topic and just decided on what I will talk about. So what I will talk about is the first sermon of the Buddha. So as most of you would know the story of the Buddha, that he born a prince and then he set forth, right? And after so much experience, he sat down under the Bodhi tree and he attained enlightenment. That happened in Bodh Gaya, right? And after his enlightenment, so the enlightenment was what he discovered. That's the content of our talk today, right? But I'm just trying to set like the story behind it. So after his enlightenment, he stayed around Bodh Gaya. How many of you have visited Bodh Gaya? Yeah, quite a number. So the sites are marked out in Bodh Gaya where he stayed for 7 weeks. And after that, he decided, it took him 7 weeks to contemplate. Should I tell the world what I discovered? Should I even bother? Okay. And the story goes that Brahma persuaded him that he should tell the world. So he decided, okay, then if so, which are the person I should tell it to? And he realized that the persons who will likely be most receptive to his message would be the 5 ecstatic that he had practiced with for many years. So then he went on from Bodh Gaya. He went on to Sarnath. Now, this part, the text just say he appeared in Sarnath. Some say that he flew there and all these things. So a lot of stories about that. Okay, no exact. We don't know. But anyway, the scripture says that at Sarnath he found the 5 ecstatics, and this is the replica of the statue of the event. So I don't know whether you can see it or not. The Buddha is holding this mudra that's said to be the setting of the wheel in motion. The Dhammacakka Bhavatana, turning of the wheel of motion. This is the first preaching of the first mudra, of the first sutra. And below you will find, here there are 6 figures, there are 6 individuals. So in the center is actually a wheel. So it tells you about the wheel. And then there are 2 deers, because the place that he preached this is called Deer Park. There are still some deers there, but I think it's artificially reared one. But in those days, it was supposed to be a deer park for the king. So the deers are there, and of this, there are 5 ecstatic. This particular rendition is quite interesting. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a little boy. So the 5 ecstatic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you see 5 figures. You may not be able to see from there, but later on you can come and see. The 5 of them are in monk's robe, or in robes, similar to the Buddha. There's one lady. Okay, there's one lady. The camera is panning. Okay, to the left-hand side, the leftmost figure is a lady. Okay. No need, it's okay, too complicated. It's a lady, and then there's a little boy, right? Okay, I'm going to stand up. Excuse me, Buddha. So this is a lady, and then there's a little boy here. Who are these people? The sutta actually never talks about them. Actually, they are the donor of the statue lah. So even today, when you make donation, you want your name to appear in the donation, right? So and so donated it. But here, at least they say, okay, put me inside, but don't mention the name. Okay, whatever. So this is a copy of statue. The statue is in Sarnath Museum. The original is in Sarnath Museum. It's very, very beautiful. It's been copied many times. This is not too bad copy, but go to Sarnath to see the original. Okay, so the event was very important. To show the importance, it's the devas are also in attendance for the preaching. So according to the scripture, the devas were all there. The whole heaven, as it were, came down to listen to the Buddha. But if you are a normal human being like me, what you will see is the Buddha talking to 5%. That's all. Okay? So what did he say? So this is the content of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. And I've given you the handout, which is the English translation. And on the PowerPoint, I will put the original Pali text so that we can do a bit of a comparison. Okay, the text starts off with the standard way that the Buddhist scripture starts off with. Evang me sutang. Evang me sutang is 如是我闻, thus have I heard. The beginning of all the suttas, most of the suttas. Ekang samayang bhagava. 一时佛在. At one time, the Buddha was at, okay, Varanasi, that's the name of the town, the Sarnath, Varanasi. Varanasi is a very old town, it's a very important Hindu town. One thing that I always brag to my Hindu friends is, I have gone to Varanasi. They will go, wow, you have acquired a lot of blessing. I don't even have. Okay, so if you are going to Sarnath, visit the Varanasi and the Ganges River. Don't ever touch the water. It's supposed to have 5,000 times the toxin that the WHO allows. Okay, but some Ang Mo still jump in and swim. So, but then that's their problem. So, Varanasiyam Viharati. So, staying at Varanasi, Isipatana Megadeya, that's the deer park. So if you read the English translation, so thus have I heard, or I've heard that on one occasion the Blessed One was staying at Varanasi in the game reserve at Isipatana. Okay, and then he addressed the five. He addressed the 5 monks, the Pancha Vagya Bhikkhu. Amatesi, so he said the following. So the following is the important content. This sutta is actually very long. Okay, most of the translation only shorten it like this. There's a lot of ... The ... is actually very repetitive. It's repeated, and if you chant it during, say, the Vesak day, then this is very long. Okay, so what did he say to the 5 monks? What he said, now this is what we're going to sort of what my contribution to your understanding. The order is important. The small little details are very important, because the general message is the Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path. Most of us in this room would know the content well, okay? And I'm not going to give a talk about Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, but the content and some subtlety I feel is very interesting that I should highlight. That is in the original scriptures that often is glossed over. So let's see. So the original scripture, in the original scripture, the Buddha did not dive straight away into the Four Noble Truths. He in fact started with this. Okay? There are two extremes that are not to be indulged in by one who has gone forth. Okay? Dve me bhikkhave two. Okay? Extremes. The two things that the monk should not go into. Which two? That which is devoted to sensual pleasure. Kamesu karma. You see this word here? Where's my cursor? Karma. Okay, this is sensory pleasure. Okay. Not the karma that the Buddhists use. There's a talk on karma I saw in your December program as well. So when you see the long A, K-A-M-A, this is the long A. Karma is spelled K-A-M-M-A, the short A. Okay. In Pali, it makes a huge difference whether it's long A or short A. It's different letter. Okay, it's like writing E versus T in English kind of thing. So there are two different letters. So Kama here means sensual pleasure. The very famous Kama Sutta, right? The Indian pornography, right? Kama Sutta. So two extremes. The first is sensory pleasure. You must not that which is devoted to sensual pleasure with reference to the sense object. Okay? It's base, and the Buddha did not mince his words. The sensory pleasure is base, vulgar, common, ignoble, unprofitable. Okay? So this is the sensory pleasure. He considered to be vulgar, common. Okay? And the other extreme of self-affliction. Okay? Self-affliction, painful, so self-affliction. Okay? Dukkho, painful, anaryo, ignoble, unprofitable. He calls it the same thing. Okay? Now, you must imagine that this must be a shock to the 5 monks, because this was what they have been practicing all that years. Okay? And like I say, the Buddha didn't mince his word. Immediately he said, what you have been doing is painful, not noble, and not profitable. Right? If it's Singaporean, they will all stand up and leave the room already. But these 5 obviously had a connection with the Buddha. He knew that there was something important that he was saying. So they continued to listen. Avoiding this extreme, the middle way realized by the Tathagata. Okay. So the middle way, Majjhima Patipada. Majjhima is middle, and Patipada is way. Where's my cursor? The middle way. Okay. Hang on, let me do something. Okay, so Majjhima Patipada, the middle way, the middle path. So the Buddhist path is called the middle path. Okay, straight away, the Buddha, first thing, he didn't talk about Four Noble Truths, whatever. The first thing that he said is, I found the middle path. And the path would navigate between indulging in sensory pleasure and torturing yourself. Okay, so we as normal, how does it affect us? We as normal Buddhists, we have to be aware of very clear about what is this middle. It's very easy to make excuse, all right, that actually your indulgence in sensory pleasure is middle way. Okay, my Mercedes C-Class is the middle way. Okay, my BMW 7 Series is the middle way. Okay, so this, I guess, is a matter of practice. You have to know for yourself what constitutes the middle. The other misunderstanding about the middle is that people think that middle way means sitting on the fence. Agree with this also can, that also can. That is not middle way. You can see from the Buddha's own words, he did not mince words. He called this ignoble, vulgar, not profitable. Okay? So the middle way avoids this extreme. And when the extreme, sometimes when the world tends to one extreme, your middle way will also look like another extreme. Okay? So they are extreme vegetarian, but then you see that people who practice vegetarianism, sometimes people will look at them as extremists. Okay, they are extremist vegetarian. I know a few of them also. But then you get the point. So avoiding this extreme, the Tathagata. This is how the Buddha addressed himself. The Tathagata, the task gone, Ru Chi. So in this word, Tathagata, can be broken down into Tathagata or Tathagata. It can be broken down depending on how you choose it to be. Ru Chi, Ru Lai. He who came from the truth, he who went into the truth, as it were. Tata is the things as it is. Producing vision. Okay? Chakku Karani, vision. Jnana Karani, wisdom. Producing knowledge. Leading to calm, to direct knowledge, to awakening, to Nibbana. Okay? So here you will see this, again, these two words gets repeated in the whole sutta. Vision and knowledge. So vision means something that we see. Now, of all the senses, we trust our eyes the most, because the visual information is the most contains the most information compared to sound or taste or touch, right? The visual information is the most contains the most information. So we trust our sight the most. And therefore, vision is very important. And in this vision also, there is... so the Buddha distinguished between vision and knowledge. Some feels that it's a repetition, but it is not. In my opinion, it is not. Okay. There are people with knowledge but no vision. Okay? We have a lot of these so-called leaders. They know things, but they have no vision. They can't see what is the way forward. What is the next thing to do? So vision requires more than it's more. It requires you to see into the future, as it were. What do you want? What is your motivation? It also has an element of faith. Okay, that you believe. This is what you saw, right? This is what you are going after. This is my vision. Doesn't mean that the vision has been realized, but this is the vision that you want to go for. So there's knowledge and vision that leads to calm. Okay, so all this has the effect of calming one down, to direct knowledge to awakening. So the middle path, okay, will lead us. This is discovery number one. The middle path will lead us to calm, to direct knowledge, to awakening. Okay? And he then go on. What is the middle path, right? Realized by the Tathagata. Okay? And this is, and what is the middle path? Producing vision, producing knowledge, leading to calm, and so on. There's a repetition here. Precisely this noble eightfold path. Aryo Atangiko Maggo. So Arya is a noble. Atangika is the Atta is 8. Angulimala, Anga is finger. The 8-fingered path, eightfold path. Okay, some things we cannot translate literally. In English, when you translate from one language to another, it's not so smooth, okay? But so that's why it's good to look at the original and then look at the translation as well. So the Eightfold Path, which is, as we all know, right vision, okay, leading to right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Okay. Next comes the interesting thing. He did not need to elaborate this to the 5%. Okay. So the 5 monks, in fact, later on, we will have Kondana attaining first stream entry. Just listening to this, no elaboration needed. So this is also very interesting to me. So the Buddha said these things, and obviously this was what this 5% have been practicing as well. Okay? It's like in this short sermon, the Buddha just organized their thoughts a little bit, boom, one of them become stream entry. Okay? And a lot of times this is what happens also when you learn something. You learn a lot of skills and then you can't quite put it together. You still have not mastered it. Only when it all clicks, all these things clicking, right? Then it becomes wisdom. You reach that enlightenment. So this is the Eightfold Path. So the Buddha started by the Dhammacakka by saying that avoid the two extreme, take the middle path. The Eightfold Path is the middle path. Even before he got to the Four Noble Truths, although the Eightfold Path will be repeated again, but the emphasis is on the middle path. Okay, the rest are equally important. They are theory or foundation for our practice. But this tells me the first thing is the practice, walk the path. The very first important point, bang, he said, this is it, the practice is it. Okay? And these persons have been practicing together with him. These 5 persons have been practicing together with him. That's why there's no need to elaborate too much on what the practices are. So, after this, then the Buddha go on to the Four Noble Truths. Okay? This is the part about producing knowledge and so on. The last stanza there. Okay? So, Dukkha Arya Sacham, the Noble Truth of Dukkha. And this is the standard formulation that we have adopted, right? That birth is suffering, jati, pi dukkha, okay? Aging is suffering, jara, dukkha, okay? Illness and death is suffering, okay? Madhyapi dukkha, maranampi dukkha. So, 生老病死, the 4 inevitables. These are all dukkha. And interesting enough, the Buddha also went on to say, now sorrow, lamentation, pain, distress, and despair are stressful. Association with the unloved is stressful. Separation from the loved is stressful. Not getting what you want is stressful. Okay? So these are the traditional formulation of dukkha. The 4 things. Typically, depending, some schools of Buddhism, like Chinese Buddhism, they summarize it to 8. The Theravadan is longer, has a longer list. Okay, but we get the picture. It's there. So the Chinese Buddhism typically take only the first 4: death, aging, sickness, and birth, aging, sickness, and death, and then the last 4: association with the unloved, separation of the loved one, and then not getting what you want, and they include this very last statement, which is a summary. In short, the 5 clinging aggregates are stressful. Okay. Panchu, this is pancha, 5. Upadana, clinging. Kanda, aggregate. So the 5 dukkha are suffering. Okay. So this is another important point that's often, we all know what the aggregates are. Okay? Form, volitional thoughts, intention, okay? Consciousness, perception, and consciousness. So the Buddha says that by themselves, they're okay. They're not. So there are people who say, you know, is it okay to have emotion? Right? Is it okay to have emotion, to feel emotional and so on? They always this concern. The Buddha make it clear in the very first sermon. The emotion itself is not the problem. It's the emotion afflicted with clinging. That is the problem. Upadana, okay? The Panchu Upadana Kanda. So, what is this clinging? This clinging is, again, according to the later elaborations, the clinging is clinging to sensory pleasure, okay? Clinging to wrong view, clinging to rites and rituals, and clinging to the I, the concept of I. Okay, so these are clinging. So form itself is not the issue. It doesn't cause suffering. It is when form is afflicted with clinging. So similarly, emotion, similarly our consciousness, all this by itself is not a problem. This when it is, you know, when this clinging, it gets injected into it, okay, when it gets affected by this. So this is one important point, okay, about this first noble truth. Then comes the second noble truth, which is the origin of suffering, right? Okay. Dukkha samudaya. Dukkha samudaya. Arya Satya, the noble truth of the arising of dukkha. And here, the first important key word is tanha, okay? Thirst. So, or translated as craving, that makes for future becoming. Tanha is thirst. Ke Wang, it is not just not just wishes, as it were. It is very strong. When you're thirsty, right, you must have that drink, and it grows on you. Slowly, you get more and more thirsty, and there is a sort of a relationship between how bad you want the thing and how bad the thirst becomes. Right? When you become really, really thirsty, you really, really want a drink. So tanha is the description, as it were, or the cause, as it were, of this suffering. This want, this and thirst is a very interesting word. It is actually a lower emotion, as it were. It's not high in our intellect. We don't need to be very smart or to know about thirst. Animals, even the tiniest insect, knows about thirst. There's nothing in the higher intellect that is related. Okay, so this thirst is a very base emotion, okay, that drives us on. That is the cause of suffering. Now, here comes the difficulty, as it were. In order to survive, you must have the thirst. Imagine that you do not have thirst, right? And you don't know, you will not be able to survive. You don't even know that you're thirsty. Eventually, the body dehydrates and you die, without you knowing a single thing about it. All right. So while being very vulgar, it is also very deeply ingrained in our existence. Today, we have a lot of Buddhist teachers trying to make it sound very easy to be happy. It's actually very easy. You just need to do this. They want to sanitize and sugarize the teaching. The Buddha actually said it very clearly. It is as if you are going for war. You are fighting against instincts that are so deeply ingrained in you that it will take you many lifetimes to uproot. That is how serious the situation is. Okay? So don't sugarcoat anything. You read all this, my Facebook, I also go and share a lot of this rubbish, but you see all this sugar-coated saying and all that. Okay? The actual Dharma says that it's not so easy. It's a huge struggle against some things that are very base to our survival. The cause of suffering is very, very deeply rooted. Okay? So, it is accompanied by passion, delight, relishing now and here and now and there, craving for sensory pleasure, craving for the becoming, craving for non-becoming. We crave after sensory pleasure. Okay? We want things to be comfortable. Again, it is because of our condition, our existence. Okay? We crave for becoming, we crave for non-becoming. We want things to happen the way they is. We also want things to disappear in the way that we want it to. Okay? So in other words, we want control. We want things to happen and unhappen in the way that we want it to be. Right? So this is the cause of our suffering. Okay? And then the cessation. Now, it's no good to tell you about illness, no good to tell you about the cause if there's no possible cure. Okay, so although a lot of doctors have to do this nasty job, tell patient that no cure already. But the Buddha, thankfully, the Buddha says that there's a cure, there's a way out of this. Okay, and first there is the end state. There is an end state that we can achieve, and this end state is the cessation of suffering. The remainderless fading and cessation, renunciation, relinquishing, release, and letting go of this very craving. Okay, so just now I make it sound as if this tanha, this craving, is very deep. It is, but the Buddha also say that you can do something about it. You can let it go. Okay, you can be released from it. Because if it is a very bad situation and there's no way out, then it's not very useful. Right? Nice to know, but then, what can you do about it? But the Buddha says that its situation is very tough, but there is an end goal that is attainable. Right? And then he repeats the way to attain this, as you all know, is the Eightfold Path. Okay? So he said, repeated the Eightfold Path again. So we have suffering, dukkha, the cause of suffering, dukkha samudaya, and dukkha nirodha, the end of suffering, and dukkha nirodha gamini patipatta. So dukkha nirodha, the cessation of suffering, gamini, the path, patipatta is the path leading to the cessation of suffering. Okay, so there is the Buddha has, this is of course the most important discovery. He has discovered the truth about the suffering. He has found the cause of it. He has saw the end goal and attained it, and he has found the path to that end goal. This would be the core of this sutta. Okay, and then comes the interesting part. He says that, and this is the noble truth for the, okay, Vision arose, insight arose, discernment arose, knowledge arose, illumination arose within me with regards to things never heard before. This is discovery, right? Things that was never heard before. Okay, so the vision arose, chakku. Unfortunately, the Pali and the English, the end part of the sentence and the beginning part of the sentence have to be flipped for it to sound smooth in English. Okay, but the end part of the sentence is here: chakkum uttabadi, jnanam uttabadi, panya uttabadi, vidya uttabadi, aloko uttabadi. So he described it as vision. He saw what is to be done. The insight arose, discernment, the ability to analyze and sort the whole thing out. Okay, knowledge, illumination, and finally illumination, aloka, light arose. Okay, in me. That this is the noble truth of suffering. So this formula is you see the next few paragraphs is a formula. And I'll discuss this after I repeat that formula. So this vision arose, insight arose, and so on. This is the noble truth of suffering. And then vision arose, blah, 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 and never heard before. This noble truth of suffering is to be comprehended. Okay? So first, dukkha, he understood that there was a problem there. It's dukkha. Okay? Then you need to understand the problem. Right? And finally, the last part of the formula, vision arose, blah, 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 again. This noble truth of stress has been comprehended. This itself is a discovery. I have understood it. Okay? So it's a self-discovery. Right? There's this truth, and the truth must be understood, and I've discovered that I have understood it. There's a supreme confidence. Whenever you say something, I have understood something, the Buddha is not bragging. He's just telling the truth as it is. Okay? I have understood it. Right? So, next we see this is called the 12, the threefold, the 3 rounds and the 12 permutations. So the next one is vision arose, blah, blah, blah. And this is the noble truth of the origination of suffering, the second noble truth. This is the second noble truth, so he discovered the second noble truth. And the origin of suffering is to be abandoned, and I have abandoned it. Okay, so what do you do with the root cause of suffering? This must be abandoned. And I have abandoned it. Okay? And then about the third noble truth. So the cessation, right? This is the noble truth of cessation of suffering. The noble truth of cessation of suffering is to be directly experienced. And I have directly experienced it. Okay? So it's three things. For the third noble truth, this is the third noble truth, the end goal. And what must you do with the third noble truth? It has to be directly experienced, and the Buddha has directly experienced it. And finally, the fourth noble truth, this is the noble truth leading of the way and practice leading to the cessation of suffering. And this must be practiced or developed, and I have developed it. Okay? So 3 things. So for each of the 4 noble truths, there are 3 things. And the noble truth itself, then what to do with the noble truth, and then finally, are you there yet? Have you done what is to be done? Right? So for each, the Buddha answer in the positive. Okay? And the 3 round, the 12 permutation, right? This 3 round, 12 permutation of knowledge and vision of the 4 noble truths, as long as this is not pure, I would not claim to be directly enlightened. Okay? In the cosmos of, with its devas, maras, and brahmas, and so on. But the sermon, in the sermon, the Buddha assured the five ascetic that he has attained this. And he declared at the end, unprovoked is my release, this is the last birth, there is no more further becoming. So, this is the sort of actually the end of the sutta. And in here, the important term is yatha buddha jnanadasanam. So, to see things as they really are, right? And after that, the story goes that Venerable Kondana saw this and understood this and won stream entry. And then the Buddha commended him. Then comes the very lengthy part of the sutta that is summarized into one paragraph. So this discovery was so important that the various devas in the various deva realms all got very excited about it and start telling each other, spreading the words. This some scholar think that might have been inserted later and so on, but basically what it says, what it's trying to say is that the discovery is so important that even the gods made a big deal out of it. The earth shook, right? It says the cry rang out in the Brahma world, and the 10,000-fold cosmos shivered and quivered and quaked with a great unmeasurable radiance appeared in the cosmos, surpassing the effluence of the Deva. So we see this as a very magical event, as it were. So quite interesting. So if you read Chinese Buddhism, you know there's a sutta called Hua Yan Jing, Avatangssaka Sutta. It also starts, it bring forward this to the enlightenment site itself, at the enlightenment site itself, that all these grand things happen. So someone, quite naturally, skeptic, asked a teacher, did this possibly happen? How can there be an earthquake and there's no record of it, and so on? So the teacher replied, and I thought was very interesting. All this happened to the faithful. With the eye of faith, you will see this happening. If not, even if you meet the Buddha on the street, he's just another human being. Okay? So to the faithful, suppose two persons, one faithful, one does not have the faith in him. This could be, the faith could be, our past life, our practices in our past life. Suppose you crossed upon Bodhigaya on the night of enlightenment itself. The Buddha was doing battle with Mara and, all the arrows, so many beautiful things was happening. The unfaithful, all you see is a man sitting under a tree in the dark. Right? So, the teacher told this person that this is only visible to the faithful. And to them, there's no question of whether it occurred or did not occur. Occur, did not occur, also not very important. So, such is the imagination of our, forefathers, Buddhists. So, this is the first sermon. He followed this immediately by a second sermon on non-self, the Anatta Lakkana Sutta, which I won't go into. But the in summary, the important sequence of event was that he spoke to the 5 monks. The first thing that he told them was avoid the two extremes. It's very important from a practical perspective, okay? Because if you already tend to one of the extreme, all the rest doesn't make sense to you. What he says will not make sense to you. So you avoid the two extreme, navigate the middle path, you attain enlightenment, and this middle path is the practice. The practice is the Eightfold Path. Okay? And then he elaborates on the Four Noble Truths. After he elaborated on the Four Noble Truths, for each of the Noble Truths, he said this 3 rounds, 12-fold things. Scholar says that if you read this is from Palitech Society, Venerable Tanisaro's translation. He has some footnotes which I wanted to squeeze this into one single sheet, so I cut out the footnote. But if you go to the website, Access to Insight, you see the footnote. Why is this called the wheel of motion? Is because this 3, 4, 12 round thing, a 3-round 12-fold thing that I mentioned, in ancient scripture is considered a wheel. It's equivalent to a wheel. That's why he's setting the wheel in motion. Okay? If the Buddha said that, I tell you all these 4 noble truths, but I haven't achieved it yet, sorry. Then immediately 50% discount already. Don't need to talk so much already, right? No one has done it yet. Okay? But not only that, the Buddha proclaimed to the world that I have established it. Then someone skeptical will say, why should I believe him? Okay? Why you should believe him is watch him for the next 45 years. What he do, what he teach, is it consistent with the message that he set out right at the very beginning? Right? So it's sort of, it's to me, it's very clear. The first thing he made this proclamation. Then if you're not happy, you say, Kalama Sutta says, just because you say, no, then you watch him for 45. We have the benefit of hindsight. We can study all that 45 years. See the things, read everything that he has ever said, and think about or judge this Buddha for what he is. Okay? But in this very beginning, he made this proclamation of his discovery. Until then, people were thinking, the two extreme is very important. People were thinking either you pursue, and this is even true today, you have to pursue material things, sensory pleasure, as if it is a goal in itself. It's still happening, okay? Or then there's the other extreme that you have to sort of give up everything and go into the mountains and so on. Also, that is also happening, though on a much smaller scale. So in between, the Buddha says, is a feasible path that everyone can take. So this is also an important message that get reinforced in Mahayana Buddhism. Everyone can be a Buddha. Everyone can take this path. Because if this path is only open to the exclusive few, then what's the point? Why waste my time? So it is not. This path can be practiced by everyone. And everyone can attain this peace, attain this Nibbana. Okay? So this is the important message and the discovery of the Buddha. Thank you very much. And now I leave for some questions.
Let's say 3 sadhus.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So now we open for questions. Anyone would like to ask some questions?
Give some comments.
Yep, or some comments.
Yeah.
So everyone has reached enlightenment because
No. So what I said was after reading this sutta many times, reflecting on it and my own contemplation. So do not run away with the idea that, I know what Four Noble Truths is, Eightfold Path, I remember it by heart, therefore I know already. Each time we reflect on it, we have new realization, we have new experiences, and it makes it very meaningful. All right? So read it many times, and I'm sure a few years from now, if I give a talk again on exactly this same sutta, I would have something new to add to it as well. Okay, so it's always a cumulative process, right?
Hi, Dr. Wong. Just a sharing on
Yes.
what you've mentioned with regards to some of the things can only be seen by the faithful. Well, I had a very interesting experience yesterday. Yesterday, I was at the Kongming San, the Bright Hill Temple, the Mahayana temple, where they actually conducted a full 1 week water land liberation, where all the Buddhist devotees is doing chanting for full 7 days in all the different sites. So at the end of the ceremony, it's very interesting that a dragon appear in the sky. Is a cloud of a dragons appear in the sky after they have burned the offerings. So everybody sees it, and surprisingly, I and a few others just look up at the same thing. Everybody is pointing, they change color and all this. The whole group of people sees, I just can't seize it. So, sometimes you mention about the faithful one. I do believe it, but eventually the same person who took the photograph, it shows me, yeah, it is exactly the dragon, but when I look up, I just can't see the thing. It's a dragon and then the sun, which is him, going after the sun as a pole. It is exactly so mysterious. So I just thought I want to share on the portion on the faithful. I mean, if you're going to tell me without me experiencing it yesterday myself, I was just very difficult to believe about faithful seeing it and others don't seize it.
Thank you. In fact, yesterday the PM, they devoted 10 minutes of the news about extremism and so on. And these are people who have this misguided notion that everybody must be faithful or you die. Right? These are what the extremists are about. You must accept that some things you see, others don't experience. That's the way it is. You cannot expect everyone to have to believe in the same thing and to exactly walk your same path. All right. So, and when it fails, then they resort to violent means. I think that is a very unhealthy interpretation of what faith is. Faith is a very important power. It drives us to do things, to try things, to take risks. We are talking about creativity, taking risks and all that. In order to take risks, you must have some faith. I mean, if something is completely nonsensical and will definitely not work then you jump in, then you're asking for trouble. In order to start something, you must have the faith that it is purposeful, it is meaningful, and I think I can do it. All right? So faith is an important motivation factor. But it is not the same for everybody. One's faith is not another person's faith, may not be another person's faith. So to try to impose faith and views on others, just not going to happen. So it's important to know the subjectiveness of this faith experience, the subjectiveness of this views and so on. But you persist in your own path. How do you convert others? You don't convert others. Whether there are 1 Buddhist or 10 million Buddhists in the world makes no difference to your enlightenment. Okay? You might have some, maybe some more Kalaniya Mitta, a few more, but you just need a few. You don't need the whole of Singapore or the whole world to have exactly the same religion as you in order that you be able to attain your enlightenment. Okay? So it is important to this religious tolerance, the ability to accept that others' faith and experience can be completely different from mine. And yet not to lose faith in your own experience and experience. Okay? So this is a important point. Yeah. By the way, for that Fa Hui, right, in the past people have seen rainbow clouds, all sorts of things people have seen. Yeah.
Any more comments or questions? Right. If no more, then perhaps we thank you, Dr. Wong, for the.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.